So hello, welcome everybody that's coming along for us tonight. We are starting the first of our sessions looking at assessment. And tonight we are going to be looking at forums and Flipgrid. So what we've got is an assessment session that's going to last for 2 nights this week. So tonight I'm on my own talking about forums and Flipgrid, and tomorrow along with Ros we're going to be looking at teams and the gradebook within teams and insights within teams. And then next week we're going to be back Wednesday and Thursday, and we're going to be doing a little bit about teams assignments and the variety of different assignments that you can use. And then lastly, we're going to be looking at reading progress. So I will just share my screen and we will get started for tonight. Let me click on this one. So it's just me. So I'm going to try and make sure that I can keep an eye on the chat that's going on as well. If anybody has any questions on it, then please make sure you stick them either in the chat panel within YouTube, or you can ask them on Twitter and tag Tablet Academy there at Tablet Academy SC, and they will come through to us and we can see them. So for anybody that doesn't know me, we do this at the start of every session. My name is Sarah Clark and I'm a biology and science teacher over at Queen Anne High School in Dunfermline and Fife. I've got 2 kids. And I've got a dog. I apologise. You'll maybe hear him barking in the background. And Twitter seems to be my hobby at the moment. And you can find me there at SFM36 if you want to ask any questions. And the idea of tonight is really to give you examples of how myself and the other MIEE experts are using specific tools in our classroom. So it's not necessarily a how to use forms or a how to use Flipgrid, but a why and the benefits that that brings to my classroom. I have got students from first year right the way up to 6th year, and I'm integrating digital technology in all of my lessons. So hopefully you go away tonight with something. If you're joining us live, then as I said, please put something in the chat panel or on Twitter. And if you're on demand, again, you can tweet out any questions that you have. And we would love to hear your thoughts on this, any feedback on it, and how you're using it, and any tips that you have as well. We would love to hear that. So tonight, as we said, forums and Flipgrid. And if you're using the Microsoft Educator Centre to log any of this training, then there's a code there at the bottom that you can redeem. And then you can upload that to your GTC registration at the end of the year. So first of all, forums. I'm sure most people are familiar with forums, have probably in some shape or form used forums. In terms of, why you would use it, it's a great way to get students answers to particular questions. You can make them self-marking, so it's super simple. You can have collections now. If you aren't aware of that, you can now organize your collections. You can see these are Rosie's collections here, where we've taken the forums, put them into a collection. If you go to all my forums, that little icon that says new collection will be there. And that was a main ask from the community to Microsoft. Please, can we have something to organize our forums? You can share the templates with other colleagues and they can then duplicate those forms and use forms. I know within our department, we all work on different key areas of different courses, and we share those forms out with everybody so we can all get our own copy, and that massively reduces our workload. And I know a lot of the forms actually for secondary school are available from Education Scotland. They've collated a lot of them together. There is also the option to share though and collaborate. So you can work with other people within your school, within your department, on a forum together, rather than ones that you can duplicate. Forms does have immersive reader inside of it. If you didn't know, there is an immersive reader within there, so that helps students so they can listen to the questions rather than having to read them. And you have the options to add in images, as well as a variety of different types of questions, whether that's a multiple choice question, short answer, long answer. There's Likert. You can give them, 4 stars, 5 stars. There's one where you can put things in order, which for me in science is really beneficial, particularly when we're doing processes. And you can then collect in the student answers. Something that people may not be aware of within forms is an option for students to upload files. We're going to look at these things and some of the examples that I've used as well. So students can upload a file at the end of a forum. And then you've got, that should say feedback. We've got feedback that you can give to students. And we've got a whole session around feedback coming up in the next couple of weeks as well. We'll be looking at it in more detail and different tools that we can use. But you can give overall feedback to students using forms, but as well as that, you can give individual feedback on individual questions. So if a student's got question 3 wrong, you can put some feedback in specifically for that question that they've got wrong. So let's get into our forums and have a little look at some of the examples that we're talking about. So when it comes to sharing as a template for people to duplicate it, if you haven't done this before, you will need to be logged into Glow. But when you share a link to a forum, normally with your kids, you would just copy that link here. You can share it as a QR code. That's great for putting up on the board. I often do this with my forums. I take a forum, I put the QR code up, and the students just scan that QR code with their phone, and it takes them straight to the forum rather than having to click on a link and find the link and get into Teams and things. The sharing as a template is the one we said that you can share with staff. They will then be given the option as soon as they open the forum. There's a bit at the top that says to duplicate, and that forum then becomes their own, and they can share that out with their students, and you will get the responses for your students that you share it with. Whereas if you just share this link, then the one person that made that form gets all the responses back in. So just be aware of that and giving people the option to get their own responses on it. This is the immersive reader icon. So within the question, you will see this little icon. It pops up all across the Microsoft tools, and that will allow the students or the teachers to have it read aloud to them. And one of the things that I like to do is the backgrounds. Now, there's various different ways that you can, why you would use backgrounds. One of the things I used to do was for organising. Before collections came along, I used backgrounds to help me to organise my forums, to make them easier to find. And you'll see here, these are the backgrounds that I use. I upload an image to my forum, and these are my Higher Human forms. And you can see the ones from Unit 1 have all got this piece of DNA on them. The ones from Unit 2, because it's reproduction, has got that diagram with the sperm and the egg. We've got ones that have got cells on them for the neurobiology topic. So my forms not only are in a collection, but depending on what unit it is, they all have an uploaded background in them as well. For branding too. So this is not necessarily if you're using them for assessment in your class, but if you are using them across your school, you can then brand it. So a lot of the ones that we send out whole school, we upload our school badge to them, and it just means that all our ones that go out to our parents or to our staff, the forums that are going out rather than the quizzes, have got our school background on them. And it's just a little bit of branding there so that people know it's coming from the school. So adding backgrounds can be really, really useful with your forums. You can also add in images and videos. And you can add images from the form itself. It'll go into Bing and it will find the images for you. Personally, I like to upload an image, and most of my forums are coming from past paper questions. What I've also done a lot of the time is adding a video. So you can see this one here. We've taken a video from YouTube and added that into the form. So they're asked on this question to watch the video, and then they're asked a question about the video. So choose the woodwind instrument that they are hearing in it. It's quite obvious in the video what it is that they're playing. And I've done this as well within biology. particularly if it's a new topic that I want the students, we tend to think about forms as a tool for assessing at the end of a topic or after the students have done something to check their understanding. They're really good to use at the start of a topic as well, or at the start of a lesson, to get some understanding of where the students are before you start teaching them. We've sent these out often with a flipped learning approach. So the students are given a video within the form. This one here is on the preliminary chain reaction, and they're asked to watch the video, and then they're asked a variety of questions on that video. So they're really good as an assessment at the end, but they're really good to assess understanding before you start a topic and help you to pitch your lesson that way. So I have a couple of example forms here for us to have a little look at. And if I click on them here, I will put them up and I will let you see them. So this first one here is a multiple choice form. Super simple, taking them straight from the SQA past papers. They're just questions, copied and pasted it in. And actually, when it gives you 4 options, if you copy and paste from a PDF document or a Word document, and there's 4 options there, it will put it in as the 4 options. So these are just multiple choice questions that the students are answering. Very, very quick, very easy for me to get the results back to it. But some of our questions have diagrams in them. So what I'm able to do is I am able to go through the past paper question. I'm able to screenshot, save that image. So I'll actually have a little folder that's called, forum pictures. Save those pictures as a screenshot and then upload them afterwards to my form. So the students can actually see the image as well. And this will change depending on whether it's a computer they're using or a phone that they're using, and they are able to see the questions there. So for me, it's much quicker for them, and it's much easier for me as a teacher to gather the information on the forum than it is for them to sit down with a piece of paper and write down A, B, C, or D with it. So because it's self-marking, it's saving me time. Yes, it takes me time to make the form at the beginning, but I can reuse that again and again. And you'll see that I actually have 8 responses sitting there that are needing looked at, that are needing sent back to the students. The last question at the bottom here is an example of a short answer question. Now, I tend to mix my forms. So they usually have some multiple choice in them, and there's a couple of questions in there, and this one only has one, where the students have to type in the answer. And this can still be self-marking though. So the answer to this question is the lagging strand, but I can put in various different options here for the student's answer. So you can see I'm accepting lagging, I'm accepting lagging strand. What I often do, this is a higher one, so I'm expecting them to spell it. With my younger BGE students and with primary students, what I would maybe have is accepting certain spelling errors in there that are phonetically correct as well though. So you can go in and you just separate them with a comma here, and I can go in and say add another answer, and I'm wanting to accept lagging. So if the students have spelt it wrong, then that would be in there also as an accepted answer. And you can see if I go back down, that now there is another accepted answer from the students. So it's marking it automatically. When I'm sending it out to my students though, I often go into the settings and set it so that the results are not shown automatically. And this is where thinking about your class and thinking about how you want the form to go out. I often expect the form to go out. The students might be doing it at different time in the class, so I don't want them getting the results back straight away automatically. So in the settings of my forum, I can toggle that off so that they don't get the answers back straight away. They will only get the answers back when I then post the results back to them. And then I say to them, go and click on the form link, have a look at your responses, have a look at your answers, and have a look at the feedback. What I found is if I set them automatically, the students were, at the end of the forum, they were getting their marks. I got 7 out of 10. And that was it. They were just looking at the marks that they got. They weren't going back and looking at the feedback that was given from me. So this allows me to go back into the forum when it comes to the responses, give them specific feedback to that, give them the question feedback that's there as well, and get them to really look at the answers of the form and use that as a learning opportunity rather than just, well, how did I get on with the form? So I would have a little look at that, think about, is that something that is going to be more beneficial for your class, rather than sending them back straight away. Okay. So the student file upload. For me, I have done this. I did it probably more during online learning than I do in the class, but I've maybe got 5, 6 questions, 10 questions that I want them to do that are quite straightforward, that are multiple choice, that are short answer. But I have students that I want to get them to do an extended response, so an essay. So what I can do when I'm setting my last question is I can set it up so that there is a file upload option, and the students can then upload various different files to that form. So it's all being collated for me. I've still got all those questions there, but I want to get a longer response from them, a Word document from an essay. It could be that you're asking students to take a photo of work that they have done. We did it before where the students had to build something at home. They were building a model of a cell, and we asked them to upload an image there. It does have a limit, it says, of 10 megabytes, so just be aware of that. We're not going to have very big files attached to the bottom of our form, but it will accept Word documents, Excels, PDFs, audio documents there as well as video. So it could be that you're asking a few questions and then you want the students to upload a lab report. And this will then just gives you further evidence of how the students are doing. So if it's on a particular topic, I can check their basic understanding. I'm changing and it's becoming more differentiated. So multiple choice, short answer question, and then the file upload option is really for those students that are giving me much more detail in something like an extended response, an essay type answer. And what you'll then get is you get within OneDrive, there will be a folder that gets created there that you can view those documents. And then again, give feedback to the students. So another option, be interested to see if anybody actually is using that. I can't actually see the chat just now, so I'll need to come back to it in a little minute. For anybody that is teaching numeracy or maths out there, you can add now mathematical notation in there, and you can have that in the answers too. So rather than maybe taking a screenshot, you can use the calculator option that comes up and put in your mathematical information. In the maths quiz, you can see there's an example for it there. And I would always say, please share that out with your maths department. If you're in a secondary school, let other primary teachers know that that is in there, particularly when it comes to doing fractions and so on. And within science, we're using it also for some of our quizzes that are there too. Returning them. So I've already said that option of not having the marks automatically appear when you're setting a forum. For me, most of my forums are set as quizzes in teams. So you can see my higher human team is here, and my students have blacked them all out so that you can't see them, and I can see who has handed them in, and then it's given the scores for it there. Now that is an initial score, but these have not been returned to the students straight away. So if I then go in and click on the summary of results, I can then go in, I can check the answers, I can look at one question, and if it's not automatically been marked, I can reassign a point. So if they've maybe been given 0, I can change that to 1. And then I post all the results back to them. And once I've posted all the results back to them, that will then be in the returned part of my team's assignment. So it changes over. So the majority of my forums are actually set as team's assignments, and that means that they all then go into my grade book and I can easily see them afterwards. So this one here, if anybody's unsure how to do that, make sure you click on the quiz and you then get an option for your form. So you can create a new form, or what you can do is any forms that you have that are existing. I just search for the forum that I know that I'm wanting. I'm clicking on the forum that I want to add to my Teams assignment, and it will then be uploaded there, and it just keeps everything in the one place for me. You can still share that with a QR code, so you can go into the form, you can go into the settings, and you can share the QR code for it, but it's just housed within the Teams assignment. Now, this video down here, you can see all of my forums. Down the bottom are the forms that are linked to my Teams. So if you click on the group forums, what we can see here is this is the particular team, and all the forums that have been set as assignments in that team, I can go and I can view them at any point. I can go through and I can mark them that way if I want as well, but they're just sitting in one place and they're very easy for me to find, and I can go on and I can find the responses for the students there and I can post them back to them. So you can see the post, review the answers, and then I can go in and post the scores. And for me, I also like to export them to Excel. So if there's any requirement to send them out on the learning tracker, I can easily copy them from Excel and put them into our school gradebook there. Now, I've got an example down here of a sway, because we have, in the past, we have created sways with content. And if you are using sway, or if you're using Wakelet, for example, to collate lots of information together, a forum at the end of it is a really good way to gather students' the information from the students as to have they understood this particular topic. So this is for our National 5, and it's for Key Area 2.5. And what we've done is, it's a little bit slow. It will come up in a wee minute. But what we've done is we've taken lots of information about this topic. We want the students to go through it. We made these during online learning. We have since used them for students that are maybe isolating at home. We also use them for students if it's maybe a cover class, and we put them out for revision also at the end of a topic for students to work through. So it's like, excuse me, an online textbook essentially that they can go through. So you can see here we've got our sway with a little video for them. There's information there that we're expecting them to go through and read. We've got another video. We've got a couple of tasks in there for them to do as well. Little past paper question for them to sit and go through. But being able to add a form at the end lets me know that firstly they have actually had a go at it. Complete the form. So here we go. So the form is actually embedded into the sway. Each member of our department has their own sway, so they've been duplicated. Each member of the department has their own forum that's been duplicated, and I then share that out to my class. So all the results that are coming back are for my students, and I'm not getting anybody else's students. So we share it out. We say, insert your own form here as a member of staff, and then the students work their way through. They do the form at the end, they click submit, and I can go into the form and check that they have done it. So we usually make sure that these are set within our organisation so that I've got the names of them. We have shared forms out across, I often put them out on Twitter for anybody else who wants to use them. I have also got forums from other people. I think actually this form came from a teacher in another school over in Dunfermline who very kindly has shared his out, and we've taken a copy of that and we've put it in. So just cutting that workload down and making everything a little bit easier. So it's just another option for your forums and the places that you can put them and what you can do with them. So on to Flipgrid. Now, what I would say with Flipgrid is some people are using this. It's dependent on your, this is not within the Office 365 suite. It is entirely dependent on your local authority, whether or not this is allowed to be used, because obviously it's gathering data on students. So what I would say is, before you start using Flipgrid, have a word with your IT department within your local authority and ask them if you are allowed to use Flipgrid. Has there been a DPIA done for the data protection of it? Within my local authority, any student over the age of 13 gives their own permission to use it, and anybody under the age of 13, it is permission from parents, because it is a video sharing platform. But it's a very safe platform for our students to use. There's no video, there's no adverts in there. Everything can be moderated by yourself. You can have up to about 10 minutes of video. You can set it whether you want them to do a 2-minute video, a 5-minute video, a 10-minute video, and so on. You can create topics with instructions for yourself. So for example, you can see me in this video giving out the instructions for the students. You can turn on and off feedback. So the students are uploading their videos and you can turn the feedback on and off. And it's just an alternative to have students writing assessments. We talk a lot about making thinking visible, and this really helps to do that, because there's a few options within Flipgrid. If you've not used it before, their Tablet Academy have done they've got a session on how to use Flipgrid. I think they did it in one of their learning days. So you can go onto YouTube and you can have a look at how to use Flipgrid. I've just taken a little screenshot of what the video part looks like. There is a background that I've put on there so that everything behind me disappears when I'm making my video. There is options, and the options can be to upload a video. So if students have maybe made a stop motion video, I have students that are often making stop motion videos with the iPads or our mobile devices in the classroom. And once they've made their stop motion video in one app, they then can upload it to Flipgrid and everybody can see it. There is an option for mic only, so it's really good for podcasts. Students can create their own podcasts from it. And there is also an option there for recording screen. So you can go in and the students can record their screen, or they can add a board. You can see there's an option here for an effect for a board. So they can have their face at one side, they can have the board at the other, and they can be writing away, they can be adding images, and they can be talking you through what they're doing. If you are using a platform like Minecraft, it might be that you're getting the students to record what they've done and talk through a tour of their Minecraft world. So use the background there. Students could be taking you through a website. They could be taking and explaining something. I often use it where the students are given one image, and that image sits in the team. The students download the image from the team. They then upload it to their board on Flipgrid, and they talk through that image and explain what the image is about. And I've used that method with first year students, and I've also used that method with 6th year students. And the principle's the same, but the explanations that I'm getting really help me as a teacher to see any misconceptions, anything that they're maybe missing out on, things that I maybe need to go back and have a little look at. So it is really a way to get an idea of what the students are thinking when they're going through something, and get a really good understanding of what they know and what they don't know for it. So again, you can go through and you can have a little look at how to use Flipgrid. I've put a little bit up here. This was our diversity in science topic. So with this topic, the students had to research a particular scientist, and they created a PowerPoint for the scientist, and that was uploaded to the team. But what I wanted the students to do as well was to do a little bit of presenting on their scientist. And all of the students, so they were given a little instruction here. I set the recording time to 10 minutes because some students were talking for 2 minutes, some students were talking for 6-7 minutes. They weren't keen to stand up in front of the class and present. What I find is sometimes when the students are standing up with a PowerPoint behind them, they're just reading from the PowerPoint. And obviously these are presentation skills that we want to develop. But I want the students to practice presenting and build up to that standing at the board in front of their peers and talking. For students that maybe are very anxious about doing that don't like talking in front of the class, Flipgrid is a great way for them to still get their voice across without having to stand up in front and have that moment of panic and anxiety. And they really can practice their presenting skills. And hopefully by the end of the year, they will feel much more confident about it. So what we were able to do here was give them a few instructions on what they had to do. They had to talk about who their scientist was, what they'd discovered, how that had helped society, and I wanted them to add the name of their person. So they weren't uploading any images here, any pictures, photographs, screen recordings. They were literally just talking about their scientist. And I was able to actually, I could add in an image there. You can see I've actually added in just a sticker that said diversity, but you can upload a video of you explaining what you want them to do. You can upload an image if you want them to use an image. You can add links to particular documents or to particular sites that you want them to go to. This little video here gives you an example of how I have used it for giving instructions to my students for something that they have to do. So I've muted it, but what you can see here is we've got a video of me. So that human aspect where they can still see me. I have added a screenshot of the worksheet that's there on the board, and then I can use that draw feature to circle things, to highlight things as I'm talking through it. So with students, they can do the same thing. They don't have to have their face if they don't want to, and they can upload an image and they can talk through it and they can highlight bits as they're explaining their understanding. So in terms of within a lesson, I used it. I have a very senior heavy class. So again, we're on to my higher human biology class that's here. But as I said, what they were done was they were given some images to use within a team. And they were also given a list of what key terms I wanted them to include in their video, and that was forming part of their assessment. So you can see here there's codon, and with the word codon, they had to explain what that means. They were using the draw feature, and they added the audio in there. And then what happened afterwards was the students were given feedback on each other's video. So they were moderated so that they couldn't go up straight away. I had to check them first to make sure there was nothing in there that shouldn't have been in there. But they then gave feedback, essentially 2 stars and a wish. 2 things that the students had done well and 1 thing that they could have improved on. So this example here is something that my students have done.
This is an example of groups of codons. As you can see, there are 2 groups of codons identified, and there are 3 bases in each group. This stage is translation. During translation, the mRNA passes through.
So you can see in that first part of the video, this was something that the students had drawn themselves, and they explained the codon. The second part of the video,
identify. Translation, the
second part of the video included an image. So this was one of the images that I'd asked the students to use, and they had to explain what was happening in the image and why it was happening. And for me, I went back and we watched all the videos. They were all about, oh, are we watching each other's? And I says, yeah, we talk in the class anyway. You've not got your face on it, but just getting them used to presenting and doing this recording and getting some feedback from their peers. And some of them, if they are turning their video on, you do have an option here to put a filter. So there is an option down there in the effects for a filter. I'm down here on the right-hand side. So this is a Lego filter. So again, the students' faces are blurred out. So some of them might feel more confident with the filter on so that they can be seen. And for other students, they just stuck a big sticker over the top of their face. And I have to admit, my younger students much prefer this, particularly the first time that they have used Flipgrid. They prefer to not have their face on. And I'm hoping that throughout the year, we're building up stickers and filters for the first couple. Then they'll maybe take the stickers and filters off and they'll have their face on view. And then by the end of it, I'm seeing that they're becoming more and more confident. And now to try and get this to come back.
This is an example.
So we've got a whole variety of uses of Flipgrid there. I'm going to come out of my slides just now and have a little look at the chat and see if there's anything in there. As I said, if you are using the MIEE, then please log that code and give us any feedback. We will put a link to the feedback form in the chat tomorrow night rather than putting it in tonight, where we'll be looking at Teams. But if I go back and I stop sharing my screen just now, let's have a little look at the chat panel and see if anybody has put any comments in the side. So we've got quite a few people in there. Amanda, yep, using backgrounds to group and organise the topics in your form. Yeah, good. Stefan says the same. We've got Stefan joining us from France as well. Do I know if Education Scotland have collated primary forums as well? I don't know if they have. For secondary, they were doing it for our national courses, particularly in science, and I think there was one teacher that had collated that together. I definitely would reach out to Education Scotland, particularly the digital team, and ask them if that has been done. And it might be something that is, if it's not been done, it might give them an idea to do that and collate forms together. And I think having a national bank of forms that people could use and duplicate for themselves would be so helpful for that. So great idea. I would reach out to Education Scotland and ask them. That's definitely worth doing. Copy and paste from a Word or a PDF. Yes, that's a very good option that's there as well. I don't think I've got anything else coming up. I'm hoping that I've not lost my link. It's looking like it's broken. But thank you for joining us. I am hoping that you found tonight useful, maybe giving you a few things on how I'm using forums and some of the benefits of it for me. I know it's something that I do all the time because it's just easy for me as a teacher to get the information back, and it's super easy for the kids, particularly when you have to think about the device that they're using. Many kids, and I think we're not a one-to-one local authority, so lots of our students, and particularly our younger students, are accessing their digital learning on a phone. So the forums is super easy for them, way easier than having to try and fill in a Word document on a forum on a phone. So much easier to do it that way. And with Flipgrid, if your students are using a laptop or a computer, then the website is the best way to do it. If they are using an iPad or if they're using a phone, I would recommend that they have the app downloaded there. There is a security there where they log in, and they can log in with a Microsoft account. But if you share it with a guest, you can share it with a password. So they don't need to log in. They would just be putting their name in there for you, and everything is then kept inside that protected environment, and those videos are not then out to be released for everybody. And it's just an alternative to having a written assessment and giving the kids the option. As I said, most of mine come from the students making the videos and then uploading them. And I've recently moved on to the students creating their video within Flipgrid, and then we can easily share them out. So thank you for joining. Please give us your feedback on Twitter. It would be great to hear if any of you are using it and how you're taking it forward. And we will see you tomorrow night, where at 7:30, where we are looking at Teams, the grade book, the assignments and insights, that kind of thing tomorrow. And then next week we'll be looking at specific examples of the assignments. Take care, guys, and we'll see you soon. Bye.